Hey, what's going on everyone? Today we have the patch notes for patch 14.2. This isn't the biggest patch in the world, but it is an important one because there are going to be a bunch of system changes, a bunch of buffs and nerfs as usual, but it is a bit smaller than the normal patch, which I think is a good thing because I think it means we're getting to a better point in the set. And let's go over the summary first. We're going to go through all the changes and then what I think about them and how it's going to affect the way we play. So for buffs, we have Punk, Jinx, Kennen, Katarina, Lulu, Bigger Shot, and Submit to the Pit. Punk is a really good comp to climb with if you are below Diamond. It is like one of the best things ever. So buffing that means it's going to be even better for that type of playstyle. Above Diamond, I'd say Punk is a little worse. A lot worse, in fact. So maybe this helps Punk out at different ratings, but we'll see. For the nerfs, they're nerfing Disco, probably the best 4-cost comp right now at least. And then they're also nerfing Cassante, probably the best 1-cost tank. Riven reroll. Vex. Vex is completely bonkers, the best comp right now. Twisted Fate, another Disco nerf. Too Big to Fail. Too Big to Fail was really popular as an augment where you just play a bunch of bruisers and then you just run random backline. They're also nerfing Last Stand. I'm actually surprised it took this long. I always thought Last Stand was completely ridiculous, especially on some of these reroll comps right now, but glad that they are noticing that. And then both the Twin Terrors. So Twin Terror was pretty much the only thing that was super out of whack in the last patch. I think with Twin Terror being balanced, last patch actually would have been like very, very, very good. But they are nerfing that. It was really good with the Vex comp, so hopefully Vex is still viable even without Twin Terror. She actually was before, but obviously you'd prefer having Twin Terror. And then they're also reworking Karthus, Kayle, Urgot, and Heartthrobs. And then they're adding Lunar Festival event, which lasts until the end of 14.3. I'm guessing they're going to put out new maps and some new skins for that too, so that should be pretty cool. But introducing Riot Vanguard in a few weeks. Riot will be introducing Vanguard, which is their anti-cheat software. It'll be required for all League and TFT games. Okay, so I guess that will happen. Shouldn't really change that much. I don't know how you cheat in TFT, because in Valorant or whatever, like you could have like an auto clicker that like auto clicks heads, right? League of Legends, I guess you could have map hack. I'm not sure how you can cheat in TFT unless you literally rig what champions show up in your shop, which I don't think you could do with like some sort of add-on or something like that, you know? But Windows minimum spec update, so they'll no longer be supporting certain versions of Windows. Okay, Lunar Festival. New in-client hub where you can access the Set 3.5 Revival Galaxies mode. I completely forgot that that was coming as well. Set 3.5 is widely considered one of the best sets, or at least one of the most popular ones, so that one should be pretty exciting. That's the one with the mech and rebels, but it's not going to be exactly the same. It's going to have all the new game mechanics such as augments and like all the new items and things like that. Lunar Festival Cosmetics is going to be the next one. So we're getting Sona stuff. Okay. Sona Chibi is going to be pretty cool there. I've not seen the animation yet, but I would like to see what they cook up later on. They're also releasing a Lux skin and then Prestige Dragonfist Lee Sin. Okay, I just realized they're updating a lot of the older chibis that they had before, which I think is pretty cool. Because I think Lee Sin existed a while back, right? Am I wrong on that? Next up, we have the Dragon Skyscraper Arena. This map looks pretty cool. I have last year's Chinese New Year's map. I'm obviously going to stick with the bunny, but if you do want the Dragon one, this one will be available. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to get them. It's probably through like a loot system. They'll probably get into it in just a bit, but they also have Prancy variants being added. And then, yeah, so good luck on the polls if you are going for those. But they also have TFT's first mid-set revival. So again, that's set 3.5, widely considered one of the best sets. And they are doing this weird thing where they are getting the unit bag sizes to 20 units for 4 and 5 cost units, which is much different than what we have now. Right now, there are only 10 copies of 4 cost units, I believe, and 9 of 5 costs. It's somewhere around there. I might be off by 1. And then 1, 2, and 3 cost units in the set revival will have 50 copies. This is so that you can like hard force a comp no matter what. So that could be a little bit interesting if you are wanting to play set 3.5. And then next up, we have the Remix Rumble Act 2 Pass. We are at the halfway point of the set, and this will cost $12.95 RP. I have heard some complaints about the Battle Pass recently. I don't buy the Battle Pass personally. I pretty much have all the skins that I want right now anyways. I use either the Bun Bun or the Dango as a little legend, and then I have the bunny map. But I have heard complaints that like recently the Battle Passes have been like a little bit worse than they were before. I actually haven't checked that out though, but that's just word on the street from the YouTube comments. But next up we have miscellaneous changes. So loadout randomizer. Randomizer takes the form of a dice logo. Oh, finally. I've always wondered why they didn't release this yet. So pretty much you could randomize your tactician, arena, and boom. For me, I'm going to stick to the same ones. Maybe I randomize the boom. I'm not in love with any of the booms right now. But if you own like a bunch of stuff, that could be pretty cool. Now that they have this, I'm going to be a little spoiled. I wish there was a way to randomize one specific little legend. So if I could like randomize all the bunnies I own, that could be pretty cool, you know? Maybe they do have it. Let's see what happens. Next up, we have base booms from Prestige Tier Treasure Realms. So you could apparently unlock them through like Collector's Bounty or something like that for the old chibis, I'm guessing. I don't really use any of them, but if you like using them, that could be kind of cool for you. But now onto systems. For portals, Cruel Pact can no longer be offered in the Radiant Blessing portal. Oh, I didn't even know that could be a thing. That does sound extremely, extremely good. Silver Symphony and Decrescendo have been removed. I'm guessing these just weren't that popular. Decrescendo could be pretty decent. A lot of people like prismatic games, so I actually wonder why this one wasn't that popular. Oh, I realized why they removed these. Silver Symphony and Decrescendo, you could have like Recombobulator on stage 4. Especially in Silver Symphony, you could like re-roll all your silver augments to like increase the chances of it showing up. And then what you do is you 3-star a 3-cost unit, get Recombobulator, and then you get a 3-star 4-cost, and then you pretty much auto-win the game. So that's probably why they removed these. Streak notifications. Win streak scoreboard notifications now display at 5 and 8 wins and show the correct streak link. Okay. That's a pretty good quality of life change. Recommended item categories. AD Edge of Night is being changed to red buff. AD Caster Edge of Night being changed to red buff as well. And then AD Caster Bloodthirster being changed to Hand of Justice. That's just like the little recommended item panel that you see on the right hand side. Nothing too crazy there, not going to change anything. And then this is one of the bigger changes, I think. It's the headliner rules. So there were a lot of weird headliner mechanics, and they're pretty hidden. I tried to speak a little bit about them in like my tier list videos every Friday. So if you're not subscribed already, like you might want to check that out, where I cover all the most popular team compositions and rank them as well. But I always like sprinkle a few tips here and there. In fact, I probably do that in every video. It's not just that one, but essentially they're getting rid of all the old headliner rules where people would need to buy and sell a headliner in their shop, but they're removing that. So you don't need to do that anymore. That's a pretty good change there. This rule probably doesn't affect like maybe 90% of players, but for the 10% who like are really trying super hard, trying to optimize everything, those are the people who it's gonna affect. But next up, we have the large changes. So wow, there are a lot of like pre-trait and unit and augment changes. We're finally getting into the meat of it. So right at the start, Disco being attacked right away. Disco attack speed per tick is going to be reduced at 4 and 5 Disco. I actually like that they did not touch 6 Disco, because it kind of is like a decision maker. It's like, oh, do you want to play the Taric plus the Nami still in the late game, or do you want to remove them to add in other units? Healing per tick going to be reduced at 6, so I lied. They did change 6 Disco, but obviously I'd rather have attack speed than healing per tick. Punk AD is going to be increased by 1, 2, and 3 relative to their levels, and then HP is going to be 10, 20, and 30. I think Punk might actually be sleeper good. Maybe there are going to be some good Jinx reroll comps, because I think it's already like playable in the right spots. It might just be like solid now. Like obviously I don't think it's going to take over the meta or anything, but if your rank is Emerald or below, I definitely probably would be spamming Punk every single game if you want like free LP. Won't necessarily make you a better player, but if you purely want to focus on climbing to Diamond, probably going to be the best route to do that. Next, we have units tier 1, Jinx 5 AD buff. This is actually a disgusting huge buff. The reason why is because Jinx loves attack speed because she has both the rapid fire and she builds Guinsoo's Rage Blade all the time. For example, it is her like super fan item. So 5 attack damage actually means a lot because you get that 5 attack so often. So this actually could be pretty big. Next up we have is Kennen, just a 50 HP buff. Cassante spell base damage reduction is going to be from 25% to 20%. Yeah, Cassante he's just like way too strong in the early game. This might be enough to like make him like regular, you know? But now onto units tier 2. Katarina spell damage is going to be buffed up at all levels. The 3-star one is like especially big. There's probably going to be some sort of Katarina reroll build now. It's already pretty decent. Like I see a lot of people play it at high levels like every now and then. And when they do play it, it does decently. So maybe now it's just good. Like this might be the new Twin Terror, you know? I'm not saying like play it with Twin Terror, but I'm just saying there's like a small chance that it's gonna be the best comp. It seems really good at least. I played Katarina 3-star a couple of times and there are tons of instances where people live with just like a sliver of health, and this like damage buff probably would just prevent that. Kale rework now passively deals magic damage on each hit. And active now immediately deals AoE damage and applies shred. Okay. I think this is more of like a quality of life buff or something like that. Yeah, because she's a confusing champion. And then her mana nerf, 30 mana to 120 mana, but obviously like her whole kit is kind of changed, so it's not really that much of a nerf. It's just like a change. Now onto units tier 3. Oh, by the way, I've heard that like Kale reroll might be a thing from some of my friends who play on the PvE server. But units tier 3, Lulu's spellcast third damage is going to be increased a little bit. Normally her third cast does like a little bit less damage than a regular cast because it does like a crowd control thing. Lulu's pretty solid overall. I love her as like a support unit, not so much as like a primary carry, but I think she's like a super solid support unit. Riven ability damage is going to be changed from 100% to 90% AD. Probably still going to be decent as like a reroll comp. I don't think this kills Riven at all. But Urgot now deals 50% bonus damage if his spell only hits one target, and his spell damage is also going to be nerfed a little bit to kind of compensate for that. The reason why they're doing this is because Urgot is like really good in the early game, but then sucks in the late game. So hopefully this kind of helps him with that, because a lot of times in the country comp, you wouldn't even want to 3-star Urgot because it's kind of like a waste of gold, but hopefully they are incentivizing you to do that again. Vex's stun duration is being chopped in half. That is a really big nerf. Holy cow. I know Vex is OP and everything, but like, wow, that is like very, like, why not 1 second, you know? Does it really have to be 0.75? That seems a little extreme. Obviously, sometimes she just one-taps people, so you don't even care about the stuns. So maybe this whole like change isn't overblown, but obviously having her as a support unit is going to be much less valuable now. Why didn't they just nerf the damage a little bit and keep the stun at 1.5 seconds? I think she was really cool as like a support unit for executioners because pretty much every single executioner is just pure damage and no utility. So what is it? Twitch, Samira, Akali, and Karthus. Yeah, none of them have any CC in their kit. She is pretty much the only utility unit from executioners. I would have preferred to see her have like a little bit less damage instead. Next up we have is 4-cost units. Karthus is going to be reworked. His ability will now always critically strike if able to, and then Karthus gains bonus AP based on his critical strike chance. He also no longer gains mana from kills and now gains 30% of ability power after each cast, so he's kind of like a scaling unit now. So they kind of talk about it a little bit here. His first cast was too impactful, and now he's kind of more like scaling into the later parts of the fight. So you probably want him to have like a Spear Shojin. Archangel's probably still going to be good. Maybe you even want like a Hextech Gunblade on him, because if he's like ramping up damage later on, obviously getting a giant heal would be pretty useful. Twisted Fate mana is going to be nerfed, 105 to 120. That's actually pretty sizable. And then the card damage is going to be nerfed as well. I don't know if they needed to do both these. I guess he attacks so quickly that the mana nerf doesn't kind of mess with him too much, because normally you're building a lot of attack speed on your Twisted Fate, but you have to keep in mind they also nerfed the Disco attack speed. Is this too much? Actually not too sure. Headliners, Kaisa, 15% AD is being buffed to 25%, and then Yone getting nerfed a little bit for his headliner. So Yone reroll going to be a little bit weaker. Nothing too crazy, obviously, but I really like the concept of headliners because it makes buffing and nerfing things pretty easy. For example, Yone as a unit in like a Heartsteel comp, if you're just running him for fun, you don't want to nerf that because he pretty much sucks so much in that comp already. I don't mean that like playing Heartsteel is bad. I'm just saying like in the fights when you are playing Heartsteel and playing a Yone, he doesn't do anything pretty much. So you don't really want to nerf that, but obviously his reroll comp, very, very strong, so they're able to nerf it this way. Kind of cool. Augments, bigger shot damage is being buffed a little bit. Yeah, I never take this augment. Maybe this is enough to make me take it. For augments, I really like to just data check. If you do want to data check, there is a data website that I like to use called teamfight.lol, and we could see that bigger shot averaged a 5.01. Oh my god, I didn't know it was that bad. Next up we have is Heartthrobs. This is going to be reworked a little bit. You now gain 20% more Heartsteel hearts instead of keeping 20% each time you get rewards. Oh, that's weird. They do need to buff Heartthrobs. If we look at the average placement, it's 5.31, complete garbage, but I think it's because people take this because they want to have fun. So no matter what, this will always perform below average. But I would have liked to see them buff it in a different way. Maybe you keep 30 or even like 40%. I don't know what the percentage is, right? They have to test it, but I think gaining more hearts is a little boring. Keeping it makes it more interesting because you have to like keep playing Heartsteel over and over, and then you get bigger and bigger rewards. Next we have is Last Stand bonus stats. It's being changed from 18 or multiples of 18 to multiples of 16. Probably still going to be pretty good, to be honest. Submit to the pit stats is going to be buffed up by 1. There just aren't really many Mosher comps. I feel like that's the issue. But maybe with the Urgot buffs, maybe there's like a Urgot reroll comp out there. The thing is, he doesn't really benefit from submit to the pit, at least compared to like the other Moshers. Too big to fail, 40% to 35%. Twin Terror crit strike chance is, whoa, 25% to 0%? Wow. Twin Terror health, 250 to 350, and then attack speed, 25 to 35. Okay, I see what they're doing here. They want to make it less reliant on like only being for executioners and better for other comps. I like that. That's fair. So that way you could like play it in a bunch of different reroll comps instead of just like 1 or 2 of them. Maybe you actually can try Twin Terror Katarina, as I was talking about before. Next up we have is items and artifacts. Thieves Glove is less likely to roll ideal items at level 7, 8, and 9. And then Goldmancer's Staff, gold per kill, is being changed from 2 to 1. This was a completely bonkers item, like holy cow. By far the best like artifact item in my opinion for gold generation. There's just nothing that came close to it. I remember seeing some people in like stage 3 that generated like 20 some gold from it, which is absolutely bonkers. Like if you play Collector or Gambler's Blade, you might get like 5 gold by that point, but like I've seen people with 20 plus gold with Goldmancer's Staff. It's so bonkers. Next up we have our small changes. Mosher attack speed being buffed up at 6 Mosher. Okay, they really want Mosher to be a thing. I respect that. Porky spell damage being bumped up a bit. Lilia mana being buffed as well. Olaf is now categorized as an AD fighter. Yasuo spell damage nerfed a little bit. Yeah, Yasuo reroll is absolutely disgusting. He's actually like a great counter to Riven and Yone. He just pops them in a 1v1 if they're on the same side. Jack's attack speed buff. Yeah, Jack's got ditched a little bit. He needs like a little bit more power to come back in. I don't know if this is actually going to be enough. Misfortune spell damage is going to be buffed up a little bit. I thought Misfortune was actually fine. Like she was like definitely niche pick or like hipster pick. Actually, buffing her is fair, I think. Ezreal spell damage is going to be buffed as well. Poppy healing on hit going to be buffed at 3-star Poppy if you ever get there. I've actually gotten that a couple times. Sona heal form. Sona no longer sends her healing auto attacks at non-champions, such as dummies and Alawi tentacles, unless they're the last units alive. And then Sona can no longer target training dummies. Oh yeah, for everything. Alright, so, that's pretty good change. Augments more gold equals more good. Good for something gold chance drop is being buffed up by 5%, and then late game specialist gold is being changed from 30 to 33. I really don't like late game specialists that much, but sometimes I take it if I know I'm like super duper healthy. Now onto the bug sections. Too emotional. Emotional connection no longer reduces your unit's max mana to 10 the first time you take the augment. Wait, what? I didn't know that was a thing. Multi-talented Akali no longer keeps an additional trait when swapped in shop. Radiant Gnasher's Tooth now grants attack speed on cast with Twisted Fate. Wait a minute, I just saw my friend playing Radiant Gnasher's Tooth on Twisted Fate. He got 3rd place with it. I didn't know it was bugged though. I wonder if it was bugged to be too good or too bad. Lucian's number of shots correctly scales with the displayed tooltip amount. Now scales 1 shot per 20% AS instead of 1 shot per 40. Gnasher's Tooth will now apply attack speed before Lucian's cast rather than after. Number of shots will no longer scale past 5.0 attack speed. And then Thresh can now properly damage CC immune units. Akali no longer sometimes messes up non-Akali's headliner traits. True Breakout, True Damage Akali can no longer bypass the 3-star 4-cost rule. And then Scrappy Inventions now gives components as intended. Wait, did it really not before? Scrappy was always good though. I really like this augment a ton because it allows you to like use item components that you don't like and it's not completely useless anymore. So I guess that's even better now. Floating through space, when superfans pop off items, those items now return to your bench at the appropriate speed. Yeah, there was a really long delay that kind of bothered me before, so glad that they're fixing it. Salvage Bin can no longer grant a spatula as its random component. And then Recome Devastated. The disco ball is, oh, this happened to my friend. Yeah, he was screaming for like 10 minutes straight because he recombobulated on 3-2 and he was playing disco or something like that. And yeah, the disco ball just permanently disappeared. Heartsteal's 3,000 plus cart cash out now has the correct odds for each cash out, and then epic NPCs now drop their loot in the correct order. And then now onto cosmetic changes. Okay, so there's some like fixing a large number of minor bugs impacting animations and sound effects and emotes for like a bunch of these things. Fix an issue where Lux's health bar would no longer cover her forehead during some animation. and then something with Squink, and then Porcelain, Bellslayer's Splash has been fixed in the loadout. All right, let's sum up and try to think of all the changes. So obviously, like, Vex and Twin Terror will no longer terrorize us. I don't think Twin Terror is going to be that great. It was a little weird. Like, you never want to Twin Terror any of your tank units because it was mainly, like, the value was in the crit. Maybe now you want to because you have, like, the added health bonus. It definitely opens up Twin Terror to a lot of different comps. I think it'll still be decent. Maybe not auto pick, but definitely still decent. At least for comps at, like, attack speed. Punk, while it should be better, I don't think at, like, Master Plus it should be that great. Still going to be, like, slightly below average. But obviously, if you start the game with like 6 Jinxes or something like that, like, yeah, definitely go for it. Katarina, I think she should be good. Like, she's been definitely sleeper decent for like a while, and the buffs definitely push her up into like a different realm. Let me try to think of some of the other changes. The Ezreal buff should be good. I remember like Ezreal did feel a little weak this patch. There are some comps that he fits really well into. I love that, like, even though Ezreal is a bit weaker right now, you could still kind of flex into him if you have like a ton of attack damage items. Let me try to look at some of the other units here. Riven, I don't think this should change her that much. I think she'll still be fine. I'm hoping there is some sort of Urgot reroll comp. That would be pretty cool. Karthus, what do I think about the new Karthus? So he's definitely a lot cooler. I have to see him in action before I like fully decide, because just like looking at the numbers and how he kind of works, like 30% AP after each cast, I think as long as he has some sort of mana regeneration, either like a Shojin or a Adaptive Helm, like he should be pretty good to go. There's one of the units in the small changes that I wanted to check out. Oh yeah, it was Misfortune. Maybe this is going to be pretty good. I don't think it's going to be like oppressive or anything, but it definitely should be a viable reroll if you need like a bailout. Right now for attack damage reroll comps, it's really just like the melee carries. Misfortune really is the only option for like an actual like backline AD carry 3-cost build. So that out definitely should be a lot better now. So I'm definitely going to try that out a bunch because I love like the AD paths in this set so far. Like I love playing Ezreal, love playing Caitlyn. If I have the option to play MF, that'd be pretty cool. Jax, I don't think this is enough. The EDM hits kind of like hit a little bit too hard, in my opinion. In terms of like the bigger changes though, like Disco, I don't think it's dead. Probably just like A tier or something like that instead of S tier. What are going to be the S tiers? That's actually really difficult this patch because it is a smaller patch right now, but they did touch up on everything. I'm trying to think if like anything sticks out like a sore thumb. The only thing that I could think of is like maybe Karthus is like absolutely bonkers good or bonkers bad. One of the two. Kale should be interesting too if what my insider knowledge has like told me. But that's going to be it for me today. I definitely will be updating the meta snapshot on Friday, so definitely tune in to check that out, either on YouTube or on the website, bunnymuffins.lol/meta. But I'm definitely excited to play a bunch this patch. I've been changing my sleep schedule recently. I think I'll stream tomorrow at around like 7 a.m. Eastern time, US Eastern. I'm going to try to do like 7 to 11 stream every day, or like as many days as I can. Hopefully it'll like fix my sleep schedule. That's my dream at least. But yeah, if I wake up, I definitely will be on. If I'm not, that means I like didn't wake up in time or something like that. But definitely excited about that. And again, Meta Snapshot will be on Friday, so I'll see you all there.